Take a good kosher chicken that's plump and fresh, a medium-sized bird with plenty of flesh. There's enough around when it's time to eat. We want strength of flavor in the meat. Do it just like Grandma, she could always tell. Take a pot with 2 handles and you handle it well. Cut and clean your chicken on smooth ceramic tile. Start it in cold water, boil it quite a while.
Tell me your name, rank, and serial number.
Name, Marcia Pippick. Rank, very rank. Serial number, da 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 da. Translate that,
Okay.
and you'll get the serial number.
Okay, seriously. What was your given name at birth? Was it Esther?
Esther Golden, which is now translated to Esther Weintraub. I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
What year?
That's none of your business.
I know what year.
I know you know, but so
banging.
why are you asking me so everybody else should know? Lisa is now in the process of making a movie, and I'm going to kill her because she didn't stop for a minute.
I'd heard that someone had made a documentary about the making of a CD of music that the residents at the Jewish home had put together. Almost from the beginning of the film, this woman, who ended up being Esther Weintraub, jumped off the screen and into my heart. She was just doing all these antics in the film, and I just thought, I have to meet this woman.
You look lovely.
Thank you. You want to go steady, or are you wasting my time?
And I went to meet with the medical director of the Jewish home for him to give me a tour around. But since I had just seen the documentary and Esther Weintraub was on my mind, I said to him every several minutes, "Where's Esther Weintraub? Where's Esther Weintraub? I want to meet Esther." I called her a week later, and we were going to have lunch. So I thought it would be, an hour getting together with this 80-something-year-old woman. I didn't think it was going to be a lifelong friendship. And at the end of lunch, I brought her back to the Jewish home and thought I would just drop her off at the door, and she cajoled me back to her room under the pretext of seeing photos of her on her wall from modeling in the 1930s. And 10 hours later, at 11 p.m., I left. Were you the only one who was 15? Everyone else was older?
Yes, I was the youngest one, and I was the soloist.
Did you travel with them?
We didn't travel.
You just played around Toronto?
Toronto, in a concert hall. But anyway, I had 3 boyfriends in the group, and I was a kid they took along on dates. One I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And years later, it was 50 years later, 50 years, I met him in Los Angeles. And his wife was a pianist and gave a concert. And I came to the concert, and she announced her name. And I said, I knew a fellow by that name. She says, that's my husband. So I said, I want to see where he is, but don't tell him who I am. And she didn't. And I walked past him, and he said, hello, Esther. I said, how did you know I was Esther? And he said, by your eyes.
So you left Winnipeg at 15 or 16 to go to New York?
15 and a half to get to New York alone, alone. My mother had died the year before, and I didn't relish living with my father. My uncle bought the ticket, and I started living 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, 2 weeks there. It was very good because I didn't have to pack and unpack. I left it unpacked because I knew in 2 weeks' time I'd leave. Nobody could afford to keep me, really.
Because the times were so tough that feeding another mouth?
The times were so tough. It was the height of the Depression, and everybody was taking in boarders, that these families were doubling up so that they get help with rent.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you became a model and what you did? And
How I became a model. Somebody had to tell me, why don't you become a model? You're tall and you're thin. I didn't know about that. I thought I was tall and gangly and ugly. And it seemed that's what they wanted. And it turned out, unbeknownst to me, I had the perfect measurements for a model. Size 10, 36, 26, 36. So I became a model, and a top model, because I became very experienced. I never went to a school, but I watched the other experienced girls walk, and that's how I learned. And the rest is poisonality.
Well, tell me about getting involved in stand-up comedy.
In what?
Stand-up comedy.
Oh, after I was modeling 35 years, our car went over a cliff and my back was broken, and that was the end of my modeling career. And I was in the hospital with a broken back for a long time. And then I became a stand-up comic because I had a knack for humorous writing, and I used my own material, so I became a comedian.
How did you start performing? Where did you go?
I start using the telephone, and I called convalescent hospitals, cultural centers, senior centers. Excuse me, my phone. Hello? I'm doing fine. Can you hold a minute? I'm being filmed. I was fulfilled because I was using my stuff, and comedy is very important to me. I think it's sustained me through the years.
I brought her back on stage when she was 87 years old to do stand-up at an annual all-women's comedy show I do called Funny Girls at the Herbst Theater, and the show was sold out. Let me just move this so your jacket.
And she brought me back to fame at the Herbst.
The next performer has become a very dear friend of mine. We met about 6 months ago. Please put your hands together for the fabulous Esther Weintraub.
I'm an 87-year-old grandmother, and I just gave birth to twins. You know what I decided to do? I'm giving them to my mother. So I want to tell you how different things were in my time, when I was young and gay, when gay was a different thing.
The audience thought she was funny, and they also probably saw their own grandma on stage telling jokes at a 900-seat theater.
Oh, I have to get my glasses. If I don't have my glasses, I don't. Wait till you get to be 87. You won't be such a big shot either. My hand is shaking. I have been very ill quite recently, and everything came back to normal, but the hand still shakes. So I hope that the paper doesn't rattle. No, that's not a joke. You know something? Fame came late to Esther Weintraub, but it still tastes awfully good. I have a joke to tell you. It's the only joke I know because I don't know how to work the computer. Everybody else in America does, but I don't. Okay. Two gentlemen were sitting and talking, and one says to the other, okay, it's our vacation, so where do you want to go? You want to go to New York? New York? Too many Jews there. So, where do you want to go? Florida? Florida? Too many Jews there. So, you want to go to Chicago? Chicago? Too many Jews there. So I was sitting, and I wasn't being nosy, but I just listened in, and I said, why don't you go to hell? There were no Jews there.
I had a standing ovation. Two places, Castro and Herbst.
I was very gratified, and my ego was stimulated, and I felt marvelous.
That's great.
So now I need another standing ovation. It gets very dull without them.
I studied Yiddish in New York a few years ago. Anyone else know a little bit of Yiddish? No. Okay. So all of my friends and you want to know why. And it's kind of simple. I like older women.
You brought me a present from my room?
Yeah, well, it's for
If
you.
it's that chocolate mousse, I'm not interested.
For you and your room.
Oh,
What do you got hanging here?
what have I got hanging here?
Oh, the who's he wants
My
this? The
teeth?
thingamajig. Yeah, your teeth. No,
My
it's the
teeth,
it's the
okay.
seatbelt. You have the handicap parking sticker.
You bet. I knew you wouldn't let me look
Good.
till I gave
Well,
it to you.
you know, it's been fun strategizing with that one. Here, I don't think we need it right yet. We'll put it on this so we can park the wheelchair in a handicap spot. I think disabled is the politically correct term these days.
Me, disabled? What's the matter
Not
with
you. Your wheelchair is
Oh,
disabled.
that's different.
I would take Esther out on field trips as much as possible. Most of our field trips were about going to the theater. Once in a while, we'd go visit nature. We'd go eat mussels at the Cliff House overlooking the ocean, or to Golden Gate Park's Dahlia Garden, where we took photos. Actually, I was just the photographer. She was the director. That was my favorite picture from the Dahlia
That
Garden.
is pretty.
Not bad for a novice.
She
Isn't
took
that nice?
that in the garden of the Golden Gate Park.
The Dahlia Garden.
The dahlias, yeah.
Here, this
Gorgeous.
this is an early birthday present. I put together a photo album of all the pictures we took.
Thank you. That's lovely. Are there other? Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
there are about 21 photos.
Thank you very much.
And I brought a hammer and a nail.
For my head?
No, I don't have enough nails for your head. This was the better one of you, but they cut your chin off. I have to get
Oh,
a
I
new
think
one.
that's terrible.
Well,
Free.
well, they're all terrible of you, but that one's the best. The sun was in your eyes.
This
Well,
is not
I don't look
bad.
good either. So tell me about theater.
Oh, the
I
theater.
know that word gets you going. The days you don't feel well, I say theater, and you get up out of your wheelchair and you're dancing.
Yeah. I love the theater, and I even love the theater. And I'd rather see plays than movies anytime. I like the idea of live people on stage. and I feel for them, and I become immersed in their problems.
Esther's health would go back and forth. Sometimes she seemed like she was dying, lying in her bed in her hospital pajamas. Other times I'd get there and she was all decked out in bed with dress and lipstick and ready to go out.
You're so dramatic. I told you that Stacy was coming and we were going to film.
I know, but I don't
You don't feel like it?
Yeah, I have a toothache, so I'm not in a good mood.
Sometimes she wasn't feeling well, but if we had theater tickets, she would bounce back and make a miraculous recovery. She lived for the theater.
She realized my need for shows, and she's dragged me out to how many? 5 shows. And I lived more excitedly in the last 6 months than I did since before I got sick, okay? Anyway, we go out a lot together, and we have the same kind of sick humor. And she gets on the phone and says something, and I say something nastier, and she laughs. So how can you dislike her?
Esther is very different than any other person in their late 80s that I've met. A lot of times we'll go to the theater on a Saturday night and come home at 11 o'clock at night. And I realize as I'm wheeling her wheelchair down the lobby of the Jewish home where she lives that a lot of the residents had already been asleep for 5 hours. Meanwhile, we've been out to the theater and coming home at 11, and I'll probably stay until 12, as we usually end up chatting for another hour. She's very unconventional. She loves to go see drag shows. She loves to go to the theater.
What did you think of the show?
I think it's tremendous. I think it's the cleverest thing I've seen in a long, long time.
After we saw the Kinsey Six, Esther practically mowed them down with her wheelchair in the lobby. She wanted to tell the drag queens how beautiful she thought their legs were, and how wonderful their show was.
What are you guys gonna do if you go out and they're picketing? Are you guys are gonna have to cross the picket line to come back?
I have never crossed the picket line in my life, and I don't intend to now. If worse comes to worse, I'll stay in bed. I'm in bed a lot anyway, and I will not cross the picket line, and I will not have scabs wait on me.
When Esther and I went out on our first date, we went to have some ice cream at Mitchell's Ice Cream in San Francisco after Chinese food. And when we were pulling out of the parking lot, I came out to her as a lesbian because she had just asked me if I was married. And she immediately blurted out, "Oh, you don't have to tell me that." And I said, "No, Esther, actually, if we're going to be friends, it's something you need to know." And then she surprised me and went on to tell me about her lifelong love affair with gay men.
So how are you so hip about homosexuality? Where's that come from?
Oh, working for 35 years in the garment industry with homosexuals who treated me much better than the heterosexuals.
Tell me more.
Because they considered me a member of their family like a sister, and there was no sex play, which I liked. I was very averse to the sex play between salesmen and the models. They treated the models like dirt. There's no union, and the models are considered playthings.
What are you getting all decked out for?
Oh, for the rabbi.
Do you like the rabbi?
Oh, very much. I love the rabbi.
You're a beauty, Esther Weintraub.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
You are.
Okay. I'm a beauty. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So why does the beauty smear the lipstick?
Because you're being filmed.
Huh?
Because you're being filmed, you had a little performance anxiety.
Oh, I see. Is that why?
It sounded good.
All right, don't make me nervous.
Why would I make you nervous just because I have a camera on you?
Nervous.
Okay, I'll just film for 2 minutes and then I'll skedaddle.
You filmed already. It's never enough
No, I
for
gotta
you.
get you in all environments.
It's never enough for you.
Is it ever enough for you?
Sure.
I mean, just things in general, not filming.
What isn't enough for me is performing on the stage. A theater. But filming is my meat.
But you're doing so great. You're such a natural.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here and go to services.
Let me get something. Shalom Aleichem was the name of the Jewish writer.
And that's also a greeting. Shalom Aleichem. Aleichem Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem. Yeah, how the hell are you?
Well, maybe we have something to hit it.
Ben was a neighbor of Esther's. He lived on the same wing as her at the Jewish home. He often played beautiful piano music outside her door.
What? Kill it. We don't need the skins here.
So where is it? Will you sing it again?
Just a minute.
Let's sing.
Da 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 da. Yes,
Not the same.
that's right. You're
That's not
saying
Ave
it in a
Maria.
higher key, but
Yes,
it's
that's
the
not
same
Ave
key.
Maria.
Yes, it is. Look, Ben.
Yeah, I guess I know where it is.
Yeah, me too. Do you have carpal tunnel?
What?
Carpal tunnel. It's when you have pain in your fingers. Well, everybody helps themselves. It's like buffet style.
Esther, what's your favorite food in the world?
My favorite food in the world is chocolate mousse. Is it kosher?
Yes,
If it's kosher, throw it out. I am 38. I never lie. I'm 38 years old. And for my 39th, I expect another party. How could you invite a dentist when he gave you pain a few days ago?
So John the dentist.
There's somebody near my home.
Is that your name, John?
Uses this on channel.
Do you socialize with all of your patients?
No.
No, just special ones?
Yeah, I try not to play favorites, but
Down in the city.
sometimes it's unavoidable.
there are
Do you give her extra gas when you work on her teeth? Esther, how do you know so much about so many
We don't
things?
these plates, folks. I will.
I don't know, because I'm old.
Do you make up half the stuff?
Very, very good.
No, I only tell the truth. I had a line of people, the first time, 2 years ago, a line of people standing at the door waiting to say goodbye. My doctor said, I thought you were dying.
I heard it.
Huh?
That was the word on the street.
Yeah, the word on the street is Esther is dying.
Esther, you're never going anywhere.
What?
You're not going anywhere.
Where?
Anywhere.
When?
Never.
Oh, never. You mean I'm not dying?
No,
Ever?
never.
That's right. I'm going to fight like hell. Now,
Now the bad
If
stuff.
anybody wants to say something nice about me, for crying out loud, say it. And if you haven't got anything nice about me, keep your big mouth shut.
Can we say one good thing and one bad thing?
No. Only good. What?
I think you're doing very well now that you're not on some of the medicine and stuff.
That's all you can say.
Well, it's important.
You saw my herpes
right.
ovation.
But
You sit there and just talk about nothing.
You went through a bad stretch, and the herpes thing is good, but your health is paramount, and you look very good, and you're 89, and you're not showing it, and you seem like you're doing well. So we're very, very happy to see that.
This is so close to
It's
turning
too much
into
pressure.
a roast, you know?
A lot of people in your situation who have had challenges like you have had are really kind of internalized and quiet, and you're different. You're still very much out there, and you're very much alive, and I appreciate that. And so does everyone else.
Thank you, dear. You got that on tape.
Soon after Esther's 89th birthday party, her health started going downhill. She started giving away her jewelry. That was her way of talking about death. She once said to me, "I don't want to talk about death. I want to live life."
Look at all I've accomplished in my life. What have I accomplished?
What have you accomplished?
Well, I've accomplished all the things I set out to do. I became a model, and I became a good one. I became a sit-down comedian, and I was a good one. I became a stand-up comedian, and I was a good one. And as far as the tourists, they were good too. Don't get fresh with me, I'm not in the mood.
Okay, move over a little bit so I can light it. They would kill me if they lost me.
That's right.
On the night of February 1st, 2005, I got a call from one of the nurses who told me that I should come right over. I knew what that meant. The nurse told me that Esther wanted me to hold her hand that night as she died. Then when I was at the nursing home, Esther's grandson called, and I answered the phone, and I told him, "Mobilize the family right away. You need to come over right now." And then the daughter insisted on staying, and I went home, even though I didn't want to, but I thought I should give her daughter the privacy of being with her mom alone on the last night, even though I really wanted to be there. I know Esther wanted me to be there as well. Then the next morning, I was taking too long to do everything, and I'm always late for everything. And about 10 blocks away from the home, I got a call in my cell from Esther's daughter saying, "Mom died." And I just couldn't believe those words were so final. And I got to the room, and Esther's daughter, Anita, was sitting there, and Esther was lying there in a beautiful dress and her bracelets, and she was dead. And her daughter said, "I'll let you two be alone." So I sat there with Esther, and I stroked her arm and stroked her forehead and told her I loved her. Esther's daughter, Anita, reported to me that the morning that Esther died, Ben was playing Sunrise, Sunset right outside her door.
Esther, my Schwester, my granddaughter is wonderful. God really blessed her. The way she walks is lyrical. If California, she really is a miracle. She can do anything.
Every time I visited this place, or a mile within this place, whether you lived here, whether you wandered the hallway, whether you were visiting, whether you delivered the mail, you knew who Esther Weintraub was. So I have paid tribute to my grandmother with my family, and I will continue to do so. But I'd like to pay tribute to all of you, her fan base. My grandmother was really happy here.
She came to my wedding and did about 20 minutes of the filthiest jokes I had already heard before, but with such verve and distinction at our reception, and oh man.
Ozzy knew his way to Esther's room all by himself, and he knew he was going to Bubby Esther's room. And I'm also one of Esther's adopted daughters, and this is Esther's adopted grandpuppy. And Esther loved him a great deal. He used to go into her bed, and he would just lie with her, and he would bring her a lot of peace.
She wasn't old, just her body was. Her humor, spirit, and mind were intact, sharper than mine. Early on in our friendship, she told me that she'd like to meet a nice gay man in his 70s who would just take her to the theater and didn't want anything from her. I offered to write the personal ad for her, but she declined. I tried to resist when Esther wanted me to take some of her jewelry. I want you to have something to remember me by. Oh, I'll remember you, I'd say.
Take a good kosher chicken that's plump and fresh, a medium-sized bird with plenty of flesh. There's enough around when it's time to eat. We want strength of flavor in the meat. Do it just like Grandma, she could always tell. Take a pot with 2 handles and you handle it well. Cut and clean your chicken on smooth ceramic tile. Start it in cold water, boil it quite a while. When it's halfway done, you skim off the fat, add onions, carrots, parsley, this and that, a little celery and salt to taste. If you eat too much, it'll go to your waist. In case you're ill or you're simply willing, this is the recipe for Jewish penicillin.